so that we don't have pressurized water under the slab. We're bringing the water in from the meter by the road through a sleeved area within the slab to a gate valve up on top to give you easy access to be able to turn the water off if you need to, that feeding the rest of the house. This is where the power comes into the house. It comes from the outside service into the house to the back side, and then comes into these panel boxes. And then from the panel boxes, you can see the wires which distribute out to the main part of the house. One thing I want to point out is the neatness of the wiring. It's bundled up tight, it gets to the attic, and it uniformly goes down to the rest of the house rather than scattered throughout the whole attic. Something else I want to point out is the height of the panel boxes. This home is built to more of a universal design. That means the panel boxes drop slightly so that the person in the home can get access to the main power cutoff in case he needs to. I want to point out the green tint to the bottom of the framing members. We tint our termite protection green so that we make sure we get proper coverage of the framing members with the termite protection. The mark we have on the stud is just signifying that the wire is too close to the edge of the stud and that it needs a nail plate. We're in the kitchen area, so I want to point out a few aspects of the wash system here. To start off with, if you notice, the water lines are PEX. I like PEX a lot for many reasons, but the most simplistic reason is you got blue code and you got red hot. The splices are easily made and the runs are a full run from this location to the previous location. Another thing is the blocking for the cabinets. You have blocking for the lower cabinets, blocking for the upper cabinets. And with the universal design aspect of it, if you notice, the switches are slightly lower than what most switches are on the wall. The next thing I want to point out on the wall will be the PVC feeds. You have the PVC going from the very top down through the slab feeding the island, and you have one feeding the floor plug. With it going all the way to the top plate, it makes it easy to feed later on if you want to add additional wiring to it. And then you look at the very top, all these penetrations in the wall are foamed and sealed off. I want to point out a few things on the island. You have the bar that's been framed up for the back of the island, and then you have the water lines and power lines and such coming from under the slab on the far end of the island. And you have the PEX coming across. Remember, the red PEX is for the hot water, the blue PEX is for the cold water, and they're terminated with copper. It makes it a lot easier and stable to have your shutoff valve on the end of the copper rather than being fed through the PEX. You have your drain lines, the PVC. This particular drain line is set up to have a mechanical Studer valve installed on it, which is a one-way air valve for the ventilation system. Another way of doing that is a loop system, to where the PVC would loop up and around, down, back through the slab, and back through the roof to help ventilate, again, the sewer lines. I want to point out a few things when it comes to a wood-burning fireplace inside of a full foam encapsulated house. Now, this is a 42-inch firebox, and we do have the outside combustible air coming in to help feed the fire, but it's not near enough to help this fire burn properly. So on a wood-burning fireplace in a full foam encapsulated house, you need to be sure and open your window slightly, one closest to the firebox, to help this fire burn properly. We have blocking in the wall of the kitchen to attach the cabinets to, so you're not trying to find the studs when you're installing the cabinets. You have a 36-inch lower cabinet, and then between the lower cabinet and the upper cabinet is about 18 inches. And then from the upper cabinet, they are normally about a 42-inch cabinet on the uppers, but on this particular house, we'll have cabinets from the upper cabinets to the ceiling that are just open cabinets for displays.